Welcome to Geek Philosophy, where we love geeky wisdom. If you're new to the channel, my name's Brian, and today I want to talk to you about the two latest entries in the Game Masters series of books. We'll talk about the Game Masters book of Villains, Minions, and Their Tactics, a guide packed with nefarious characters and strategies for Game Masters, but then we'll also tackle the Game Masters book of Proactive Role-Playing, which takes a different approach to traditional role-playing game dynamics. Now, the publisher sent me copies of both of these for review, but I am under no obligation to share or say anything specific. I just wanted to share a few of my own thoughts, but if you stick around to the end, I'll tell you how you can enter to win one of the copies that they sent me. First, let's talk about the Game Master's book of Villains, Minions, and Their Tactics. I have to say, this book is very similar in structure to the Game Master's book of Legendary Dragons, except that it's casting sort of a wider net and providing the villains in the form of NPCs and their minion underlings instead of dragons. Matt Colville actually does a great job of highlighting the benefits of a book like this in his foreword. As he puts it, your story is only as good as its villain. It's packed with 25 of these villains, and the fantastic artwork is right there as you're introducing these characters to the story, so it really helps when you've got a new villain that you're describing to be able to pull up this full-color artwork. And these villains have really cool names and titles like Grisek, the Orc Queen, and you get their background information and story hooks and motivation as well as the tactics. And you also get tips for building up the tension, and when an encounter with that type of villain is likely best for your group. So for example, Grisek is the one pulling the strings behind the scenes, so she should be challenging for the players to find. And when they do, their resources and their hit points should be pretty low when they come across her. Now, one of the standout features for me, as usual, is the GM notes and sidebar information. The stat blocks that they include are really clear, and there are even well-formatted blocks for magic items, making it easy for game masters to pull those and use those in their campaign. But probably my favorite aspect of this book is the creature tactics section. I found that tactics can usually be a little bit of a challenge for both game masters and players. And if every counter feels the same, the players don't even notice that there's a difference between tactics of one creature or NPC and another, and then they don't switch up their tactics when they play either. And as pretty much a forever GM, I think that game masters can help inspire players to come up with some good tactics. If my villains have good tactics that make sense for the type of characters that they are, my players will pick up on this and they will start to formulate tactics depending on the encounter that they're in. In addition to the tactics that are laid out for each of the individual villains throughout the book, there are general tactic information in this creature tactics section, and also how to create a villain and instructions on how to make up a minion for that villain. And there's even a section called Notes from the Art of War that highlights Sun Tzu's Art of War, as you know, the classic book on tactics and warfare, and how you can use some of those elements within your game. But I highly recommend reading Sun Tzu's Art of War for a lot of different reasons, but especially for gaming, because you can come up with some really interesting tactics to use in your gaming session. Now, in this book, they've also included Oneshot Adventures like they usually do. There's The Wound of the Forest, Love Locked in Iron, and Contaminated Corruption. And I haven't had a chance to run these yet, but they seem to be well written, and I think they'll fit well into most existing campaigns if you want to incorporate them as something beyond a one-shot. Now, like I mentioned before, if you liked the Game Master's book of Legendary Dragons, I think you'll really enjoy this one because it offers a wider variety of villain types, and you may even find it more useful than that book. Okay, let's talk about the Game Master's book of Proactive Role-Playing, which introduces a shift in role-playing game dynamics. It moves away from the traditional reactive narrative where players respond to events to a more proactive sort of approach, where players are actually pursuing their own characters' goals. And the foreword, written by Jenny D, offers a really nice perspective on this book's approach to storytelling and tabletop gaming. And she reflects on how the book's methodologies can streamline the game master's role and enhance the tabletop gaming experience. Now, the book is divided into three main parts. In part one, you've got creating proactive characters. It really focuses on player-generated goals and player-driven narratives, and that has an impact on the roles of NPCs and the influence of other factions in the game. But in part 2, which is creating a proactive world, the focus is on location design, conflict design, and a reward system. And it goes into tailoring the game environments to player goals and emphasizes conflicts and rewards that are meaningful and connected to the story. Finally, part 3 is about running a proactive game. And this gives the practical advice about encounter design, and it includes a plundering in Pine Hollow adventure to help demonstrate the application of all these proactive role-playing principles that they've laid out. I think that this book's emphasis on proactive role-playing is a refreshing take on tabletop role-playing. Sometimes we get too wrapped up in laying things out for our players that we don't really give them the chance to drive the story in a way that's meaningful and also make the game exciting in a way that fits the players at the table and their characters. And actually, both of these new books are a great entry into the series. And if you're looking to get them for yourself or as a gift option, I'm going to include Amazon affiliate links in the description. It's a great way to get your hands on the book quickly, and it also helps support the channel at no extra cost to you. But we're giving away a copy of each of these new books. To enter, all you have to do is simply subscribe to our YouTube channel and sign up for our Guardians of Getica playtest, which will also give you access to all of the free playtest materials that we've been working on. If you've been following the channel, you know that we're working on our very own campaign setting, and signing up for the mailing list not only enters you into the giveaway contest, but it also keeps you informed about that project. Quick note about the giveaway, unfortunately, we can only ship to North American addresses, but I'll leave all of the information about the contest in the video description. If you are already a subscriber and you've already signed up for the playtest, you're already in, so thank you for the support. All right, thanks again for joining me, and don't forget to like and subscribe and turn on the notifications so you don't miss out on anything. But since these books focus on villains and minions and tactics, and also being proactive, I'd like to leave you with a little geek philosophy from a famous villain you may have heard of. Fine, I'll do it myself. Cheers.